So can we really beat inertia? Social inertia works in mysterious ways, hindering our efforts to align our trajectories to our wishes, our aspirations, and our dreams. Inertia in physics is a measure of how difficult it is to change the kinetic condition of an object. In our everyday lives, inertia is a measure of how difficult it is for all of us to get out of bad habits and a misaligned trajectory. Creating new habits enables us to achieve success in our lives and personal and professional fulfillment. Circumstances combine with our habits to create the orbit we are currently taking. For example, a few years back, you were looking for a job, just a temporary one, until you could follow with your heart your dream career. Now, that was supposed to be a transient state. It wasn't supposed to last very long, but now you're trapped, and you can find no way of breaking out of this. This is inertia at its best. Our life's orbit depends on the gravitational pull of our habits. To change our life's orbit, what we need to do is to have an honest look upon our habits. This honest look, however, this clear analysis, does not come that easily. As Oscar Wilde put it, common sense is not that common. We normally find it easy to see the problems, the mistakes, the difficulties in other people's trajectories, in other people's courses of action. Unfortunately, the irony is that this very principle we cannot easily apply on ourselves. Many times, all of us feel that there are some things that we do not like in our goals, our career, our personal circumstances, our relationships, our eating habits. But even if we do realize there's something we do not like, managing to understand exactly what could or should be changed is not easy. Even if we do manage to see what needs to be changed, getting out of a destructive relationship, escaping a dead-end career, changing our dietary preferences, even then it is difficult to do something about it. Most of the times, the psychological force that would enable us to do it is just escaping us. Inertia does not allow us to get very far. It really takes stamina, relentlessness, it takes strong willpower to be able to overcome inertia and do something with our lives. A quick show of hands. How many of you have ever created a New Year's resolutions list? Quite a few. How many of you have managed to stick to the items on your New Year's resolutions lists? Wow, we have about 1/3 of the people who raise their hands. Now, the question on that is, what's the problem with New Year's resolutions lists? Why are they difficult to stick to? If you think about it, New Year's resolutions lists are just wish lists. They're sweeping, they're all-inclusive. They don't tell us what needs to be done. The problem is that we often mistakenly try to change it all at once, and then inertia as a force pulls us down with all its might. If you think about it, the bigger the size of a body, the larger inertia as a force. The bigger the size of the habit or the size of the change that we want to implement in our lives, the bigger the opposing force we're going to face. So if we instead were to look at one simple, manageable thing at a time, wouldn't things be less difficult and easier to achieve? The secret actually lies in the little things, the small things, the things that Jeff Olson, the author of the book The Slight Edge, terms the things that are easy to do and easy not to do. These are the things that are simple and easy for us to think that they're insignificant. They are easy to overcome, extremely easy to neglect. For example, deciding to read every night before you go to sleep 30 pages of a good book. Deciding to exercise for just 20 minutes every day. Deciding to spend time with your optimistic friends, the active ones, the energetic ones, instead of the pessimists who will drag you down with their negativity. Deciding to put aside just €5 per month as savings. These little things that seem insignificant when you do them, they accumulate onto the change that you want to see in yourself, in your circumstances, in your world. The important question here is, what exactly is it that we need to focus upon? This question, to be answered, necessitates reflection. I remember early on in my career, when I was at the University of Manchester, we were introduced to the concept of functioning as reflective practitioners. We were being taught how to pause, reflect, reevaluate, and then have the courage and the stamina to take these reevaluations and turn them into actions. But this necessitates time, it necessitates the ability to critique ourselves, to stand aside and take judgment. It requires the bird's eye view. Think of it as if you're advising a friend. You're telling a friend what you honestly think about their circumstances and what you honestly think about the things they should change in their lives. And then see how the petty excuses you use as a defense mechanism not to change anything in your trajectory would sound if you feel that you're outside of yourself. They wouldn't be as powerful as they are when you tell them to yourselves as excuses. The problem is that in our hectic everyday realities, most of you would say, we don't have time for reflection. It is like this never-ending treadmill, this never-ending tennis game where you feel you cannot stop, you cannot pause, not even for a second. But this, if you think about it, this is emotionally and psychologically draining. And unless you find the time to pause, relax, and reconfigure your circumstances, you cannot get very far. Pico Iyer, in his excellent TED speech, The Art of Stillness, explains how to be able to do things we should actually learn to invest in doing nothing. For a little while, for 10 minutes every day, for a day every week, for a couple of days every few months. This time, this stillness, this time off enables us to see where we are, where we want to go, and to determine our goals as to how, and our trajectory as to how to get there. It is important to engage frequently in an internal dialogue, an internal discussion with ourselves, starting with the all-important question, why change? If the need for change appears in our eyes as significant and necessary, then the next important question is, am I willing to change? Am I willing to put the effort to achieve this change in my life? And then another question that follows, and we need to answer, is why exactly do we do what we do? Why exactly do we want to engage in this change? What do we want to achieve? Think about it. If you do not know where you're going, how will you know it when you get there? So let's say that we have our target. Once the target is there, shining upon our path like a beaming, like a shining beacon, then the next thing is for us to devise a strategy and to engage in the right kind of mental framework that would enable us to beat inertia. So let's have a look together at the 10 forces, the 10 things that can help us all beat inertia and get onto a favorable trajectory in our lives. First, accept reality. To escape inertia, you need to accept reality and you need to accept the perpetual need for change. Second, internalize. Take the responsibility upon yourselves. Think about it. Whom do you blame for your circumstances? If you blame external forces, your parents, the market conditions, society overall, your friends, then immediately your ability to deal with the problems is limited. The external locus of control gives you the sense that all these variables, factors, are external and are outside your reach. Taking responsibility and taking the blame is not easy, but it is the necessary first step towards solving your problems and getting onto the course that you wish for yourself to get to. Third, define clear goals. You have to be very clear and specific in what you want to achieve. And for that, the fourth point, mastering the power of visualization, can help you towards. If you think about it, the old habit is concrete. The new habit, what you want to implement, the change you want to bring in your life, is abstract, and its benefit is vague. What you need to do is visualize. See yourself achieving that. Then, the concreteness that visualization brings onto your mind, onto your reality, is helping you to not lose sight of your goal. Fifth, understand that willpower is necessary for a change. You need to really want to change and to find the internal force that will keep you going. Willpower is important, but it has its limits and it runs out. For example, every time I am on a strict dietary scheme to lose a few kilos, my willpower takes me nicely throughout the day up until about 9 o'clock at night with my broccoli, my almonds, my carrot sticks. And then, just then, at the worst possible time, it runs out. And I grab this bag of crisps and this chocolate bar. So what does this circumstance then teaches us all? It teaches us that we need to be very careful with our willpower. We need to carefully maintain it, feed it, and sustain it. Sixth, maintain your internal consistency. What you would like to achieve has to be internally consistent with your value system. Otherwise, the disparity will just backfire. Seventh, have a grand plan, have steps, have quick wins in your trajectory. We said already about the importance of keeping your goal, the end goal, in your mind. And we discussed how visualization can actually help you do this. But it is important to complement this with quick wins, easy steps that can feed your willpower and can keep you going. So break it down to small, achievable goals and keep going. Eighth, make room for the change in your lives. If there is no room for the change in your life, how can change take place? Think about it. A 70 hours every week, hard-working executive wants to start exercising every day. When? A full-time mother of 3 young children wants to start an open university course, take up a new language at the same time. When? If you do not find the time in your lives where change can be implemented, it is impossible for change to take place. Get rid of some things, engage in decluttering, but do that. Otherwise, any effort is just not going to have any room to grow. The penultimate one, 9th, choose a reward and a cue. To introduce a new habit, we need to use a cue and reward mechanism. Let's say that for years, you want to start reading good books for your own personal development, but somehow you never seem to find the time to do so. The problem is that you need a routine for that, a specific time in your day where this can take place. And as soon as you have your routine, then you need a cue, a habit, an activity that whenever it takes place during your everyday life, you know that it's time to stop, grab your book, and read your 10 pages. Routine, cue, and now the reward. You also need, at the end of the 10 pages every night, to be looking forward to something. Something that is important for you, something that will really get you going. Every time you feel, oh, okay, I can escape this for just one night. This is important because if we do not have this reinforcing mechanism, a habit can come in our lives, but it will not stay, it will not stick, it will evaporate. So every time you need a cue and a reward. The reward has to be something specific, not abstract. Because, for example, the abstract reward of having the perfect beach body for the summer will not really enable us to stop from grabbing this delicious burger in front of us. And it will also not enable us to get out of the sofa at the end of a very tiring day and go to the gym to exercise. And you might think at that point, well, just one burger, well, just one day not going to the gym. We do that very often, all of us, don't we? The problem is that there is no harm in that particular one burger or in that particular one day of skipping the gym. The problem is in the mentality that is created with that. Keep in mind what we said earlier, to change your life, to change your trajectory, it is important to focus on those little things that are easy to do and easy not to do. And finally, 10th, have patience. The things that can successfully help you overcome your inertia are the things that seem insignificant in the short term. They have no impact on your realities in the short term. They need time to manifest their beneficial impact. Successful people form habits that feed their success instead of habits that feed their failures. They keep exercising them and they do not get tired of trying. Remember the slight edge principle. The difficult is what takes a little time. The impossible is what takes a little longer. Thank you very much.